you often say you'd much rather be up north.
Well, he wouldn't, or he'd go.
Well, this is what he constantly says.
You've chosen to live here, you've lived here for years, you've got a flat here.
No.
No.
I chose to come here because I was offered a job that was good money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come here if there was no job.
So you prefer to be somewhere where there's a good job, so you've chosen to live here.
I don't like being here, though.
Well, no, but you can leave.
To what?
Well, exactly! So you've chosen to stay somewhere that's better for you.
It's not better for me.
Well,
it's making me ill, I'm not sleeping.
Well, so you say you're ill, I think you call in ill, but I don't think you are. But I mean...
Are there any stats to prove that?
Well, yeah, because, you know, it'd be of the 11 days that he calls in sick, I reckon probably 7 of them are genuine.
I'd love it if I dropped down dead tonight. Honestly, I'd love it.
If you drop down dead tonight, you'd have it.
Why aren't you sleeping?
What, you're feeling ill now, are you? That's funny, you weren't feeling ill earlier, but you read that, and you're suddenly ill.
I'm run down.
Well, you should take a holiday. Oh yeah, you just had about 8 in the last 6 months.
Oh, God!
Why are you run down? Why are you run down?
Yeah, what have you done? You sit in a little air-conditioned office.
I haven't got time to tell you. Let's move on. Let's get on with stuff. What have we got anyway? Because we didn't have a chance to meet up this week. Me and Ricky could have done, but you said you were busy, Steve.
Yeah,
so that's probably why you don't get run down. But finishing work at about 4 o'clock.
No. So I could have had the meeting, but we gave you a time, and you suddenly decided with very little notice that you couldn't make it. So that was the
meetings and that.
Oh.
So what have we got? What have we got? It's 1:20. What have we got? We're on till 3.
Well, we've been talking. We've been doing well. We've been playing some great rock and roll. We've been playing some lovely songs. We've told them. We've explained a survey just for employees. Be careful.
Yeah.
We've put that out there. We put a shout out there. People know.
I mean, would you say it was probably safest if you are an employer to never employ Mancunians?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far because you see that's only an average. So I imagine some Mancunians, like Londoners, are nice, reliable people. It's probably just a few bad eggs that throw the stats up a little bit. People that would go, I'm not coming in today. I'll put on some wet trousers. All right, stay in bed.
Yeah.
Stay in bed.
Yeah.
You still got them on? Yeah. Well, pop them off.
Yeah.
Put them on the radiator and go to bed with a little duvet. That'd be the best thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, Carl.
Right.
What's your attitude? Is it because you're tired?
Yeah.
Well, why are you tired though?
You weren't staying up watching those Channel 5 films again, were you?
I'll tell you what, me and Steve were having a little meeting yesterday over lunch about, planning stuff for the show. And, Gary Kemp came up to me, started having a little chat about old times, and, I went, oh yeah. As he went away, Steve said, right, think of this. He said, Rick, don't take this the wrong way. Remember that sentence, don't take this the wrong way. So there's a right way and a wrong way I could have taken this comment. He nodded to sort of Gary Kemp and went, he's aged better than you. I went, well, how could I take that the wrong way?
Yeah, it's not offensive.
No. Well, the point is this. He didn't know me 20 years ago, so he's actually saying, Rick, don't take this the wrong way. He looks better than you do.
Yeah, well, he does.
But why say that, Carl?
What?
Did you really say that?
Yeah, although, can I just backtracking for a second? I love the fact you said you bumped into Gary Kemp and you reminisced about old times. What old times did you share with Gary Kemp?
Well, no, he came up and said, did we drop the pops together? I went, no, I did Razzmatazz. He said, oh, we did Razzmatazz. I think he was thinking, had he ever met me before? But he hadn't, because we hadn't. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
but if you had to make an objective analysis,
I wouldn't. I think that's out of order.
Sure. I mean, you're always slagging me off, but apparently you can't make a value judgment on something else. No.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, because you're morally all over the place. You don't know where you're coming or going.
Leave it.
Sure. You should do what I say about you behind your back.
So, would you say you're better looking now than you were? Or?
Than I'm what?
Would you say you're better looking now than you were?
Than I was when?
Well, have you aged well?
Yes.
You've aged well?
Yeah, I've kept my looks.
The problem with those adverts, like when I was growing up, they'd sort of give you ideas, because remember the Charlie's one, right, and we were on holiday, right, and I met these 2 lads who are knocking about with, like, mates and that, and that advert came on, and we thought it'd be a good idea to wind his mum up, because this advert had just been on saying, kids are going missing in Wales, right?
Yeah.
So we said, oh, this will be a good laugh. We put the kid in the wardrobe, his mum came back from shopping. We said, oh, he's gone missing, we haven't seen him for hours.
That's terrifying.
I know.
That's an appalling
How old were you?
About 13.
And what was his mum? She must have been,
Yeah, she was going mad, and that's when we thought, oh god, we've gone, will we say anything? Will we pretend we don't know where he is?
Open the wardrobe, he'd suffocated.
Yeah. That's horrible, Carl.
I know, but
Such
it's
a
just
cruel
what you
thing.
do, isn't it? It's just what you do.
Well, no, you do.
What do you mean? It's just what you do. But what was it? Was he in the wardrobe? Was he listening to this? Why didn't he go, Mum, it's alright, when he heard her crying?
No, she wasn't crying, she was just panicking and, like, screaming a little bit and that.
Screaming a little bit.
Okay, we'll tell her when the screaming starts.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, what's the other thing? Like, on the same, like, you know, all this was going on when I was growing up. And, one time we're on holiday, and my mum says, right, if you're going on the beach, it's a big beach. But, you know, if you're going to go out and play there, I need to know where you are.
So
what part
where
of the
these
beach you're going
bells?
to.
where this cowbell went, you know.
She gave me a balloon.
Good
Give you
idea.
a balloon.
A balloon, and it just, you know, sort of attached to my arm, so wherever I was playing in the sea and that, you can see the balloon and that.
Brilliant.
But then the problem was, everyone else thought that's a good idea.
Cool.
And it was just like loads of kids with balloons and that.
Oh, I ruined it.
So that didn't work.
Yeah.
I had to bin that idea.
Oh, you've told me educating Ricky. Very similar to some of the other jingles I've done.
Well, they're made by the same people.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Okay, what have you got,
well, it's just, I mean, educating Ricky is just stuff that I learn in the week, and I think that's interesting. I keep it up here, and then I share it with you, right? And, some interesting stuff. One of them, right? You know, Mount Everest.
Go on. I need more.
Right, well, there's a problem,
Yeah.
because people are leaving rubbish up there and that. And, like, people, whoever owns it is saying, oh, he's saying, forget this, they're leaving a mess, and all that. But do you know why it's called Mount
Sorry,
Everest?
what was that? That's one, is it? That's one. There's rubbish on Mount Everest.
No,
How many people go up there?
Are we
that's
talking
right.
about people dumping old tellies and washing machines?
Who's fed up? The Yeti? What are you talking about?
No, I mean, that isn't what I'm educating you. I'm just telling, this is part of the story. I'm just telling you.
Just a bit of context for you.
That they're leaving loads of rubbish up there.
Well, they're not leaving loads of rubbish up there, are they?
No, they are. They apparently.
Not
it's
like
alright.
prams and washing machines and seagulls flying everywhere.
I don't know. I
Anyway,
don't know. But anyway, do you know why it's called that? You know why it's called Mount Everest?
why it's called Mount Everest?
I know the mount bit.
It's because it's a large mount, and if you climb it, by the time you get to the top, you need to have a rest. And that isn't the educating bit. I'm just telling
Well, it's
you.
not true.
Well, we'll leave that.
Well,
Right.
no, Carl. In the name of everything holy, do you think that anyone named it because you have to have a rest when you've climbed it?
Well, we'll see. You'll see what people say on email. But
Well,
that-
it's definitely not.
But anyway,
That-
that's one thing that kind of that's interesting. I'll remember that. I'll teach Ricky that, so you've learnt that. Right, now, are you familiar with this thing that they can do if you're dead, right? No, not if you're dead. It's like if you're ill and you know you're going to die, right?
I don't know what this is anymore.
Extraordinary.
Have a rest.
Extraordinary.
Himalayas. Himalaya. What?
Listen,
on.
this is an interesting fact. Come on. If you're ill but you know you're going to die,
Yeah, you can have this thing done in Detroit where you get put in a fridge,
right?
and if they work out, you know, what's wrong with you in 20 years' time, they go, right, that fella is in the fridge, he had that, we can sort it, let's get him out, and they sort you out.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've come across this idea?
Yeah, I read it the other day, I didn't know
You've
about
never
it.
heard of this before?
It's called
it's called
cryogenically
cryogenics.
preserved.
It's good, isn't it?
They put you at sort of like sub-zero temperatures, so stop all cellular activity.
So do you stop aging at that point?
Yeah, it's suspended animation.
So, well, what's the law on it, right? Because say if I had something, right,
Yeah,
and I said, oh, put me in a fridge, and when you've got the cure and that, wheel me out, sort me out. Say if they did that,
yeah,
and it was like 40 years,
yeah.
and in 40 years' time they get a cure for me.
Yeah.
Would I have to stay with Suzanne? Because she'd be 70.
Do you mean what are the rules? Should you be allowed to date a younger woman?
Well, it's not fair, is it? It's like good
No,
news,
no.
we've sorted you out, but...
I don't think she'd mind. I reckon she'd have the best 40 years of her life.
Yeah. And plus, they're never going to find a cure for what ails you.
That is genius. That is brilliant. You come out, you're cured, and you go, oh no.
I love the fact that's what he'd be lying there. If you could think while he was in that state, you'd be thinking, oh god.
She's losing her looks.
Yeah.
Just, oh dear.
But everything else as well, like, my job wouldn't be here.
No.
No.
Although
the figures would have gone up a little bit.
Flat's probably gone or knocked down or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Most of my family would be dead.
Yep.
So what's the point? What? How do you know about it? Who's done it?
Well, famously Walt Disney, apparently. I mean, Walt Disney actually did die, but had his body preserved so that should they one day be able to bring back people from the dead,
they need Walt Disney.
They'd think, hang on, who do we have?
But with him, nothing is going to change, because when he comes out, Mickey Mouse will still look the same.
Sure.
What a monkey's good at?
What a monkey's good at?
Yeah.
Well, running small businesses, cutting people's hair, and driving cars.
Yeah, they love Spain.
Oh, and foiling bank robberies.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, something else they're good at, right, is like weighing up the situation.
Oh, God!
If you stick them in like a field with loads of like obstacles on it, right? They're good at sort of, I can get over that, and I climb over that, I'll swing from there to there, that sort of thing, right?
Okay.
So the people in charge of somewhere, I've thought,
somewhere.
I've thought we can use that skill, right? What? And what they've done is they've got a load of little monkeys, right? They've given them an IQ test.
Yeah.
And the ones that score above 80, right?
Get to produce this show next week.
Join the army.
Right. How do they join the army, and what do they do?
They just, what they do is they set little obstacle courses up for them. They do that. They do a cross-country run. They do, the IQ
cross-country
test.
run?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then once they've done all that, they make them a little uniform. Made to measure little uniform.
Slightly longer arms, shorter legs than usual, yeah.
Yeah. And, basically then they taught how to use a gun and that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course they are. You're talking rubbish again.
This came through literally, pretty late on, so...
So you've not had a chance to corroborate all the facts, as usual?
Just have a look.
Carl, what do you think of it so far?
What, of what?
You weren't up for it, and now it's turned out great, and are you a little bit happier?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Good. Just talking earlier about teachers, weren't they? Have you got any amusing anecdotes about teachers or anything around that subject?
I didn't go to school that much.
Go on.
When I did, it was, I was telling Suzanne about it the other day how she goes out with me now and she thinks I'm great. She's lucky what she's got. No, she's done well.
Yeah.
Right? But I was the sort of kid who she would have hated at school because I never had, like, a pen.
Oh, yeah, I know what sort you are. Never a pencil case or any stuff?
I'd start off the term, I would. I'd have, like, a brand new carrier bag with my stuff in.
Brand new carrier bag, classy.
And, well, you got to have somewhere to put the stuff you've nicked from Woolworths in, haven't you?
Right, so that be there. But then by the time, like, a couple of weeks down, I'd put my pen down, I would have lost it, and then I'm sort of going around saying, can I borrow a pen?
You didn't try sticking up your nose, it's not still lodged up there.
It's not, no. But the funny thing with, like, you were talking about teachers and stuff.
Were you disruptive? Were you a disruptive kid? Were
Not
you the sort
really.
of causing trouble?
No, not really. I was
No,
one
he
of
wouldn't
them.
cause trouble. He's terrified of the boss here, isn't he?
No, it's not that. It's just that, what's the point in winding people up? I find it quite annoying if people do that. So I don't wish it up on anyone else.
Why do you wind Steve up then?
I don't wind him up.
You do. You have done, but no, come on, let's not argue. We're getting on well then. Come on, Carl.
And, like, the teachers, because I'd lived on this estate, right, loads of stuff used to get nicked and go missing and what have you.
Blackboards,
And
desks.
their way, no, like the telly and the video. Telly video
really?
and stuff like that. And, the projector thing and all that. So, the way they used to try and find it, right, my little conspiracy, 'cause I'm good at them.
Yeah, yeah.
What they used to do is set your own work and say, right, draw like a bird's eye view of your house. Right? But draw everything you've got in your house in it as well. So if you've got, if you've got anything in the loft, make sure you draw it.
Right. So kids would come in with overhead projectors.
Well, that was the idea,
Chalk,
I think, behind
guns.
Yeah.
Anti-aircraft guns in the shed.
So the picture you did for your home, presumably
got nothing from me.
Nothing.
I didn't do it.
I'm not. He used to hand it in, empty house, I'm not a grass.
Yeah.
And nor the illegal immigrants living in the
Just
kitchen.
a picture of your Auntie Nora.
Yeah. What's that? Is that, have you been
tennis ball?
stealing tennis balls?
Yeah.
No, that's not a split tennis ball. That's my Auntie Nora's.
But what about all the stuff? Didn't you have to draw all the stuff that your father had nicked? All this, you know.
Listen, we're doing Songs of Phrase today, because Rockbusters has gone.
What songs of phrase again? I can't remember. I think I've blanked it out.
Yeah.
When we do, something that's been said a few times on the show.
Right.
Right?
It's been said a few times. I'm scared of Andrew Phillips. I need my job on it. Go on, sorry, you were speaking, Carl.
So we take a phrase from the show, right, and just get songs, like, the words from the songs, edit them together so
Something
it says
like
that phrase. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, just go on. Sorry, go on, Carl. Come on.
So are we doing it?
Sorry, so what's the phrase you've come up with?
The phrase is no more cheeky freak of the week.
No
more cheeky freak of the week. Is there not? We're not having that anymore.
Well, no, because it's offensive, and if we're worried about offending people, to talk about people with disabilities,
well, yeah,
like,
but that's
like
what
conjoined
annoys me.
twins and women who'd born with like deformed legs, and you call them dog woman. So you know, you've got to be careful. You've already insulted Christ. Let's not do disability. Let's do songs of phrase, shall we?
Cheeky freak of the week was never out to offend anyone.
No,
it was to make you realise how
we don't
lucky.
try and offend people. We try and entertain them.
Right. Do you know the funny thing is? Right? You're saying about being cruel about people and stuff. It goes on all the time. On the news the other night, do you know those Siamese twins that didn't make it through the operation?
Yes, yeah.
Right? And this is why I'm stopping it, because I don't want people to think we're having a go at disabled people and stuff, right? On the news, right?
Yes.
Before that operation, the doctors said, we're going to try and sort this out. All the doctors are going to get their heads together. Is that a good phrase to use?
Yeah.
The reason I did this was to get that kitchen, right? Now,
brilliant.
As we speak now, right? Builder's in the flat. He's been annoying me.
Of course he has. Of course he has. What's he been doing?
Well, when he turned up on Monday, right?
Yeah.
Wanders in, and the first thing he says to me is, said, the pub across the road, is it any good? I said, well, it doesn't matter, does it? You're working on the kitchen.
Think of saying that to a builder. Probably making conversation. Probably meant, do they do a toasted sandwich? Because I got a half-hour lunch break, not an hour, like Karl Pilkington. So I'll pop over there and get a nice, cheese and tomato sandwich.
Is that genuinely what you said to me?
Yeah. So Suzanne had a go at me saying, why have you said that? He hasn't even started on it yet.
I cannot believe that.
You're unbelievable, Karl. And you say it's us that are rude, crass,
I wasn't being rude. I just was letting him know. Do you know what I mean? I know what
he knows what he was there for. He had it down on his little docket. Do the kitchen this week. He didn't come there and go, what did I come out for? Was it to go to the pub for a week?
Why am I wearing these overalls?
Yeah. Who's the little bald mate twat insulting me? Let me just check. Let me call the head office.
I wasn't having a go, though. I mean, they should have finished it yesterday. And they're there now. Right, on their own. And what annoyed me is they turned up late today.
Hold on, Karl. I've just realised something. They're probably listening to the radio. That's, I assume, tuned to XFM, isn't it, in your kitchen?
Yeah, but they don't know it's me, do they? You know what I mean?
No. They'd go, he's got a whiny mank voice as well. So's the bloke who owns this place. And the bloke who owns this place, when I said, what's that pub like across the road, said, well, you won't be bothering that, he's working on this. No, he won't be able to put two and two together, will he? You've suddenly, the penny's dropped, doesn't it? You've suddenly realised, look at his face! Yeah. He's suddenly realised they might know it's him!
And they could be listening, and they're gonna clean you out, mate.
Oh, if you are the builder, working in, where is it? I won't say the address, but it's...
Central London, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go mental. Have whatever you want.
Opposite that pub that you like,
He'll probably be in there now, so he won't be listening.
Oh, insulting a British workman.
He should have been in
today.
Mental. He should have been in at 8 this morning,
just
which annoyed me anyway.
Mental.
Why, I really don't understand why they've got to start so early, right?
Yeah.
But he said he'll be there for 8, turned up at 9:30, right? Wanders in, and what annoys me is, he could have left all this downstairs. He had a paper under his arm, one of those crossword books, and a pot noodle. Now, I'm not being funny, but most of them take quite a bit of time. A crossword book, he's not happy with just the one that's in the paper.
If you're listening, if you are the builder that's listening now, doing Karl's flat, what about pissing in the laundry basket?
There's a story about a couple who couldn't have any kids, right? There's something wrong with them, but they really wanted a kid. And they got some dodgy email address where they could buy a baby online, right? It was someone who would have a kid, and you could buy it for $3,000 or something, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they got picked, and they're like, brilliant, there's the money. Got the baby and everything, they were loving it. You know, playing with it and stuff. As it got older,
Feeding it.
it got airier.
Oh, shut the oh, Carl!
Turned out they'd been sold a chimp.
You maniac. You stupid mank twat.
How on earth?
Don't talk shit. That is as if... what?
didn't know it.
Oh, don't talk. Are you mental? You
I love the fact
stupid.
that didn't make it into Monkey News.
I know, yeah.
Well, it's a bit sad though, we don't like to bring
They
the
bought...
feature down.
Yeah.
But
And how
anyway,
long was this? It got hairier. They're born hairy!
no, it wasn't.
They're not born like humans then develop hair, because they go, hold on, we better get the chimp stuff kicking in now, because we're in the jungle!
School photograph, they were like, hang on a minute, it looks a bit weird. With all the
Oh,
other kids.
you are just
Mad,
the rubbish. Mad, innit? Mad, innit? Mad, innit? Imagine, oh, God.
But
Just
anyway.
imagine if he was in charge. We did put him in charge of the country.
Terrifying.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Let him run the country.
Just for a week.
Or the mayor. What would you do if you were the president or the Lord Mayor of London or the Prime?
Prime Minister Carl.
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
do it like he's going to be offered it. It's a hypothetical question, Carl.
No, but Suzanne was, right, my missus, if you're a new listener.
You keep her, sure.
Yeah, help her.
She was watching the news, trying to follow some heavy stuff. And I'm like,
The weather? What?
Do you know what I mean? I just was like bored, and I was reading about that mouse that had an ear on its back and stuff like that. So she said, will you take notice of this? Should be, you know what Ricky and Steve are like, they try to teach you stuff and you don't even want to learn. So to try and get me interested in it, she was like saying, what would you do if you're president and stuff?
Yeah.
And I can't be doing with any of it.
What did you come up with? You must
What would
have.
your slogan be?
What did you come up with? Did you come up with anything?
I had a little, the design of it, right? I said I'd have like red and blue, to sort of, do you know what I mean? Both sort of major sides into one.
Yeah.
Well, that's broken the back of it. That's a pretty good manifesto so far. Anything else? What's on the second page?
I had like, KP looks after me.
That would be the badges, would it?
Yeah.
That's good. I'm a KP nut.
Yeah.
Um,
KP looks
that's-
after me.
Yeah, brilliant.
That's about as far as I went with it.
What would you do? What about policies, transport, crime? Just law and order.
Yeah, what would you deal with crime? What would your initial approach be? Would you introduce guns? Should police carry guns?
Nah.
No.
Yeah. Would I have to worry about that?
Okay.
Well, you're
No,
the Prime
good point.
Minister.
Good point.
No, what I'm saying is, though, I mean, Tony Blair isn't sorting everything out, is he?
No, but he has a say in most things.
Does he? Well, go on then. What are the problems at the moment? That need sorting out.
Well, generally, what's the best way to combat? Would you bolster up the prison system? Would you introduce more community service?
Would you go harsher for say I don't know drugs? Would you go harsher or less harsh? There's pros and cons of
Higher or
both, isn't it? Because of course you can't see to condone it, but some people, you don't want to go through the court system and cost taxpayers thousands of pounds of money for someone, I don't know, the difference between smoking a spliff and dealing crack. Do you know what I mean? You have to all these things. Have I lost you?
Yeah, I'd just think about it for a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
You think about it for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably ask Suzanne. Do you know what I mean?
This is amazing.
Get her help on it.
Yeah.
Now, what about the foreign situation? Would you have supported Bush in his war on terrorism? You're aware of this war that we had recently?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if I was new, though, couldn't I just say, look, new slate. Do you know what I mean? Let's start again.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course you can.
I'm in charge now. Let's see if we can sort this out.
What would you do then?
Then see what happens. Just leave
Brilliant.
Just leave
Suck it and see.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
This is excellent.
Now,
So
this is not really your jurisdiction. This is not really your area, but I imagine you'd have some powerful friends who might have a say in it.
Go on.
Yeah. Would you, what would you do about, single-sex marriages? Same-sex marriages?
See, this got this Cameron. I thought Cameron had blown it on Big Brother because they said, what do you think about gay fellas getting married? And he went, no, in the Bible it says you know, a man and a woman, and I thought, oh, he's put off a lot of...
Yeah.
I don't think many Christians tune into Big Brother, but we know the gays love it.
Yeah.
They love Big Brother, don't they, the gays?
Yeah, so interesting. But,
So,
what would your take be on that? Same-sex marriages?
And then what? Having a kid?
Well, just let's start off with, you know...
That's alright, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Just let them get on with it. It's
Sure.
not affecting anyone else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? But it starts getting tricky
Right.
when you get a kid.
Okay.
Go on, why?
Well, it's just tricky, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you could be right. I'm not giving any... I mean, you know, we're not... There's no right or wrong
It's
answer.
alright if you were in, like, if you lived in the jungle, right, with no one else,
Yeah.
right, and you just had these two fellas, right,
Yeah.
looking after you, but because you got no one else looking in on that saying, oh, you're a bit weird, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? But
Right.
as soon as you come
So,
to...
why have they got married? Do you think the gay people turned to a bloke because they couldn't get a woman? If there's two fellas go away and they're in the jungle, they go, we're definitely not going to find a woman here. We might as well bum. That's not how homosexuality starts. People don't.
It makes you wonder. If
No, it does make you wonder. Gays don't go, well, I'll tell you what, I haven't seen a woman I fancy yet. I'll try a bit of knob.
No. But what I'm saying is, right, if you're brought up in like a little jungle, right?
Yeah.
How
are you brought up?
Someone just puts you there.
I don't know what.
Explain.
I don't know what this is about.
Steve. I can't be bothered
Go
running
on,
the
mate. I'm
country.
listening. I'm fascinated.
I can't be bothered running the country. Like, I'm too much trouble for you.
KP takes care of me.
Alright,
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough. What
okay.
I'm saying is, right, if you're brought up in a jungle,
Yeah.
Right.
right, on
What
your
do you
own,
mean brought up?
Just let him finish.
What does he mean
You
brought
understand
up,
what he
though?
means, like Tarzan.
You've got to tell me what you mean by brought up. Wolves, chimps. What?
Right, well, there's a good example of what I'm saying to you.
Right.
Right, what I'm saying is, there's a fella, right, he's brought up in the jungle.
Shut up. Just let him finish. Let him finish.
There's no women about, he doesn't know about women, he doesn't understand what women are,
Right.
right? But another fella walks in the scene,
Yeah.
and he gets pally with him.
What does he talk about?
Then they've both got needs.
This scenario is ridiculous. How has he lived? Or do you know what's his reference
I
points?
can't be bothered with this. Honestly, Saturday should have been, you know, day off and that.
So, there we go. Karl as president. He's still confused, aren't you, Karl?
Just a little bit sort of amazed
Yeah.
by the body.
Yeah. You're in
Just
awe
the-
of it, aren't you?
Just the way,
I'm amazed how two people can buy a baby on the internet for £3,000 and not realise it's a chimp till it goes to school.
no, but seriously, what we were, talking about there during Elbow and Fallen Angel, we were talking about that I think
Yeah.
if you're locked up, well, not locked up in a room, you've got a normal life, except there's no women in it,
Yeah.
right?
But how would that happen? What would this point of reference be? How would you bring
Right,
up
hang
a
on a minute,
person
can I just ask
and
you something
totally...
though?
Go on.
How can infinite monkeys and a typewriter?
Right, again, I've told you before, right? That is not... You don't actually have to test that model. It's basically a model for that explains the nature of infinity. Okay?
Yeah, but
I've told you before. It works because of the definition of infinity. There's nowhere in the world you'll ever be able to get an infinite amount of monkeys and typewriters to
But anyway, all I'm saying
Yeah.
is, I think if you don't know about women, would you crave for a woman, even though you don't know her around?
when you hit sort of puberty, your hormones will kick in and you'd start getting urges.
But for what? If you don't know about it?
You don't have to know about it. You don't, if you grew up and you started feeling hunger, you wouldn't go, I wonder what that is. You'd go, get me a sandwich, I'm starving.
It's different though, it's different.
But I'm not, but we're not
Body's
saying
weird.
it's all hardwired or people can't change their natural state. We do it all the time. We fight nature all the time with conditioning.
Body's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right,
well that's that one. I'll
was-
tick
I
that.
was-
It's weird, isn't it?
No,
I'll
the body is. There was something,
Yeah.
did you read that thing the other week about,
Man with two penises?
no, we don't need that, we don't need that.
Lawyer who got in office realised he was actually an orangutan and they just shaved him and put a suit on him from Hugo Boss. And the funny thing is, he won the case and the judge said, well, don't send him back to jungle, let him set off on his own, budget, wibble and podge. You'd make the best judge in the world.
No, there was a fella
Here's a banana.
who, was in a coma for 20 years. Just, they kept, like, taking him through, like, the normal day. They'd take him to Alton Towers and stuff. He doesn't know anything about it, just kept going through the motions. Don't know if they kept charging him. Kept putting him through all that. He eventually came out of it. 20 years.
And went, stop taking me to Alton Towers, it's shit!
I just thought, imagine how much post
making, eh?
How much post?
Oh,
Did you read about that guy in the paper, Carl? He, sorry, on the internet. He in about, I think it was about 1984, 85, he had a terrible car accident.
But this must be it.
He went into a coma.
This must be what he's talking about.
Well, they didn't take him to Alton Towers.
Of course they didn't. But you've got to try and decipher the truth from the conjecture, from the thing that I mean, don't forget, Carl says, realises that he's had a dream. He talks to Suzanne and goes, that was good, wasn't it, last night we were in the plane? She goes, no, it's a dream. He goes, oh yeah, where's my cornflakes? You've got to, you know what I mean, I can now decipher what he's actually seen, what he's read.
Well, go on, what did you...
Well, I'm assuming it's the same guy.
It is the same guy.
It was a guy in some small American town, and he'd had a car crash, and he'd gone into a coma, and his wife had left him. She'd gone on with her life, because he'd been in a coma since then, and he had just woken up recently.
Marriage wasn't working.
Marriage wasn't working. He just wasn't paying enough attention. She was pregnant at the time, and so now his daughter is basically the same age as he was when he went into the coma. And, he's just started coming around, he's just started making jokes. They said, how do you feel? He said horny, which I thought was quite witty for a man who'd been in a coma for however many years. But anyway, yeah, so he's slowly trying to rebuild, what life he can.
That's
what do you make of that, though? Because the thing is that he's missed. Imagine what he's missed, Carl. Imagine the music that he's missed.
Live
the TV
Aid.
programs,
Missed
the
Live
news.
Aid.
Live Aid. He
missed
completely.
Phil Collins playing in 2 continents in one day.
Which, frankly, I'd be devastated if I discovered that.
Missed Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't. So he'd put on ripped jeans and they go passe.
They just have to send him a series of those I Love 1986
Exactly.
programs with Kate Thornton filling him in on what he's doing.
Exactly. Peter Kay reminding him of space operas.
Yeah,
he remembers those.
Talking rubbish.
Yeah. So
extraordinary though, isn't it, Carl, to think? No, obviously.
So,
not.
had he aged much? Because he hadn't had any problems or anything, no worries.
Well, he probably wouldn't have, physiologically, he probably wouldn't have the wear and tear of a 43-year-old man. Because he wouldn't have had sun, he wouldn't have had sort of nicotine, beer,
Unless they were just feeding that to him.
Anyway, still, yeah,
So you feel groggy though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you might feel a bit groggy, yeah.
Well, he's not fully back to normal. I mean, there's some kind of residual brain damage.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, he can form sentences. He's got no real memory, so he can't remember a lot of things.
It was just when I saw
Carl,
it.
have you been in an accident?
Go on. You know it. We've talked about it before.
Aphrodite?
Really? So close! Hermaphrodite. Yeah, hermaphrodite. Yeah.
That's weird, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he had the ball.
Yeah.
And he had the...
Well, what happened was he was born, right?
Obviously.
And the doctor said, there you go. Lovely little boy and girl. So the mum was like, what? So he said...
No, I don't think the doctor was sarcastic.
Yeah,
I don't think the doctor was, sort of dissing them.
Yeah.
There you go. What do you mean, doctor? We'll have a look. There's the cock, there's the minge. Alright, see you later. What are you gonna call hit? But doctor, what do you mean? Have a look. He wasn't sarcastic, he didn't give
Doctor,
clues.
tell me what you mean, give me a straight answer.
He probably went, oh shit, she's got a cock. He didn't go, he wasn't sarky to the parents.
No, but I'm just getting across, do you know what I mean? I always had a little bit just to...
Yeah, I know you do, yeah. You should be a newsreader. Be brilliant.
So there's a little kid lying there.
Yeah.
And the mum says, you know, what am I gonna do then? So, the doctor... I mean, I'm condensing this, it was like an hour long.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he says, she said, what will I do? And the doctor said, well, he's not sort of well hung.
Right.
Oh,
So,
he's not sort of well on. This doctor I assume has been struck off since for saying these things.
It was a real doctor, it wasn't Dr. Fox.
Yeah. Right, go on.
So the doctor said, so I recommend that we make it a woman.
Right.
So, they sort of do a little bit of...
Jiggery pokery.
Yeah, a little bit of work.
I don't think that's true, Carl.
No, it is, it was on the programme.
But I think they can tell, really what they were meant to be from their chromosomes, though, can't they? They can tell whether X, Y, Y, or
Yeah,
X.
not just, it's not very well hung.
No, I
Yeah.
tell you what, because back then, when this was going
Yeah,
on,
no,
right,
I'm just thinking they might not have had to.
the doctors then thought if you had a kid, right, and you thought, it's a bit ugly, maybe it'll have a better life if it was a fella. If it was a girl and it's a bit ugly and you think it's going to get a hard time.
Right, don't talk shite.
What?
What? That a doctor would go, right, you've had a young girl, I'll tell you what, she's a pig, let's pop a cock on her. Don't
No,
talk
I'm not saying,
shite.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, say if you have like I say, a girl. I just think it's harder if a girl's ugly and
Yeah.
she's growing up.
Yeah.
She has a harder time.
Yeah.
Don't you agree with that? If
Possibly,
but-
you don't
but they
change
don't
someone
change-
when
No, yeah.
you don't change their gender
No,
because they're
I'm
a
just
bit of a
saying
minger.
what I'm saying is the Elephant Man would have had a harder time if it was Elephant Woman. Is what I'm saying. But listen to me, listen. What the doctor was saying is, if you get a baby before it's 2,
Yeah.
back then they thought you could sort of say, well, instead of giving it a go-kart, give it dolls to play with.
Right, back when? What are we talking about? As an hermaphrodite, yeah, it was born, both sets. The doctor said he's not well hung, let's lose that.
Let's get rid of that.
Let's make
it
it
a
into a
woman.
girl. Okay. I'm with you so far, go on then.
So, anyway, gets away with it a little bit in the early years. Right. Starts going to school, gets away with it a little bit.
Sure.
Right. But then, do you know when you get to that age and your head goes all funny? Like when you're a teenager and you sort of, I don't know, your skull goes.
Mine never did.
What are you talking about?
No.
Yes,
That
what do you
sort of
mean your head goes all
teenage
funny?
years when you look a bit odd. Do you know what I mean? You go from being quite a good-looking person and then your body starts growing.
At a different rate, so
Yeah,
you never know. You never know till 21 whether you're going to be a looker or not, or whether it's just.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
So,
Your head grew outwards at exactly the same rate, didn't it? That's why it's
Your
spherical.
head grew faster than your hair.
He's got a lovely head of hair, but just below the skull.
Yeah.
He's got a little afro in there,
Yeah.
but it just couldn't get through the follicles. It couldn't catch up the skull. Expanding. Oh, bless him. Oh, come on, Baldy.
but the thing is, right, so you see these pictures of the lad stroke woman
Yeah.
who's trying to be a woman at the age of 14, 15.
Yeah.
She's got one of them big heads,
Right.
like a
okay.
lad. Doesn't, she starts having a hard time. She doesn't want to play with the mates, with the dolls and all that. She's more into go-karting and that sort of thing. Gets to an older age,
Yeah.
decides to go back. Is now sort of with a woman and having a life of a fella.
But did he have it? Did the doctor keep it for him in case he needed it?
No, he's had one put on though.
Has he? Where did he get that from?
Dunno, maybe that bondage shop.
What do they do when they do that? Do they put on a? What do they do? Maybe someone could call in and tell us. If you're a woman and you have a.
Do you want to speak to someone who's got that information?
Yeah, I do want to know. What do
If
they
you've
use?
got that information, I don't want to talk to
Do
them.
they construct one? Do they construct it,
From plasticine.
or do they whack on a dead one?
What?
What?
Whack on a dead one?
Yeah.
What? What? That's not, it's not, what do you mean? No.
When a woman has a knob put on
Yeah.
to have a sex change, where do they get it from? Is it constructed? Do they find like I don't
From
know
a donor.
a donut?
From a donor.
Oh well, yeah, a donor.
A
What?
donor, yeah.
Yeah, but presumably it's like
Maybe there's someone who
well,
wants
after
to
they're
become-
dead. I mean,
No, I thought maybe
very
there's-
few people. It's not like giving someone a kidney and then sort of like
Maybe
celebrating
if
with
you're
them.
a guy and you want to become a woman, you've
That's
got one to
true.
spare.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, a swap.
Yeah, just do a little swap, probably on the internet or something.
Or Noel Edmonds.